What's going on YouTube? Bendable Straws here with a Tech Raid Team Reveal Kit. That's right, the Tech Raid solution has arrived. Today we're going to be looking over the kits. And here, first off, we have Iron Man Infinity War. We're going to be taking a look at his basic. Attack primary target for 320% damage. Apply 1 vulnerable up to a maximum of 3. Attack adjacent targets for 320% damage. Gain speed up, and in raids, you'll be reducing the speed bar by 10% for the primary target, and you'll be reducing the speed bar for 5% for adjacent targets. We're going to go over here to the special, and we notice it is a 3 out of 3 energy. Attack primary target for 360% damage. Apply bleed for 2 turns. Rebound chain to 5 adjacent targets for 360% damage. Apply 2 bleed for 2 turns. Apply speed up for 2 turns to self and all Pegasus and Thor Infinity War allies. It's quite interesting. In raids, apply ability block for 2 turns to the primary target. Apply an additional bleed. So bleed seems like it's going to be pretty crazy, huh? For 2 turns to all secondary attacks. And his ultimate is Infinity Beam, 3 out of 5. Attack all enemies for 300% piercing, clear 3 positive effects, and apply defense down for 2 turns. If Kestrel is an active ally, attack all enemies for 600% piercing instead. Apply blind for 2 turns to the primary target. Spread all positive effects, excluding taunt and a stealth, on self to a random Thor Infinity War ally. I do like the what Scopely's doing with these team ups. Apply speed up for 2 turns to self and all Pegasus and Thor Infinity War allies. In raids, apply blind to all enemies with vulnerable. Spread all positive effects, excluding taunt and self, on self to Pegasus allies. This is unavoidable and cannot be blocked. Now let's take a look at his nanotech upgrade passive. When a positive effect is applied to this character, any Pegasus ally or a Thor Infinity War ally heal all allies for 3% of this character's max health. When this character or a Pegasus ally drops below 50% health, clear disrupted on that character, apply speed up and 2 death proof to that character. If the ally that dropped below 50% health was rescue, apply stealth to that character and taunt to this character. Gain 30% damage, gain 30% max health. Pegasus and Thor Infinity War allies gain 30% max damage. In raids, gain an additional 30% damage. Pegasus allies gain an additional 30% damage, and Pegasus allies will gain 30% max health, and you will be lowering resistance by 30% for all enemies with vulnerable. I noticed in his basic, he is applying vulnerable, so there could be pretty solid ISO change there, man. And Iron Man Infinity War is going to be an amazing addition to this team, I must say. Next up, we have Kestrel. Her basic is Aerial Ace. It seems to be that this was unchanged, but of course we're going to be checking that out later. Her special seems to be unchanged as well. Her ultimate seems to be unchanged as well, but when I come over here to Dimension Hopper, on spawn, gain charged and offense up for 2 turns. On turn, heal self for 20% of the max health. Clear all negative effects from self. If negative effects are removed, heal self for 5% of negative effects removed. On turn, if charged, if this enemy attempted to summon or clone this match, clear charged. And during an ally turn, if this enemy with defense down is attacked, attack the most injured enemy for 400% damage. Gain 20% max health if at least one ally is Cosmic or Nick Fury. Gain 20% max health, and Nick Fury allies gain 40% max health. But that's all irrelevant. What I really wanted to get down here was the focus and the resistance for Pegasus allies for Kestrel's passive. Pegasus allies will be gaining 30% focus, and Pegasus allies will be gaining 30% resistance. I'm not necessarily sure how this will play out in other game modes, but we'll have to see. I really do. I must say I'm really happy with this tech raid solution. We just There's a lot of things we can't talk about. We can only really show you what we can see here until a later date. We're going to be going over rescues for Sonic Repulsor. Her basic is going to be attack primary target for 260% damage, chain to an adjacent target for 260% damage, apply slow and defense down to each target. That's pretty good. Her special is Tech Shield. It is a 6 out of 6 energy, so you'll be able to do this immediately when you start. Steal 5% health from each target. Redistribute 500% of the total health stolen to self and all Pegasus allies. This bypasses heal block. Bury yourself and all allies for 15% of this character's max health. Apply regeneration to self and all allies. In war and raids, apply 2 regeneration to self and all allies instead. And in raids, you'll be applying 2 deathproof and 2 deflect to self and all Pegasus allies. Firewall is a 3 out of 5 energy ultimate. Clear all negative effects from self and all allies. Heal self and all Pegasus allies for 25% of this character's max health. Apply offense up for 2 turns to self, power armor, and Pegasus allies. I really do like that they still kept the call out to power armor. Not necessarily sure how that will play out in the future, but let's keep going. In war and raids, apply immunity for 2 turns to self and all allies. In raids, apply speed up for 2 turns to self and all Pegasus allies. Seems like they'll be going pretty quick. Now, Stark upgrade is her passive. When this character or any ally drops below 50% health, barrier that character for 10% of this character's max health. In war and raids, barrier that character for an additional 10% of this character's max health. On enemy turn, if that character has vulnerable, like, Infinity War, Tony Stark, heal self and all power armor and Pegasus allies for 3% of this character's max health. On death of an Iron Man Infinity War ally, clear all negative effects from self, all power armor and Pegasus allies, then apply immunity for 2 turns to self and all power armor and Pegasus allies. Gain 15% max health. Power armor and Pegasus allies will be gaining 15% max health. In war and raids, on spawn, bury yourself and all power armor and Pegasus allies for 20% of this character's max health. In raids, on spawn, apply defense up for 2 turns to self and all Pegasus allies. On death of any Pegasus ally, fill speed bar for this character by 50% and generate 3 ability energy for self. I must say that is really, really, really nice. Now we're moving over to Ironheart MK2. The basic is Mark II Repulsors. Attack primary target for 300% damage. Apply defense down for 2 turns. Apply 1 vulnerable up to a maximum of 3. Prolong the duration of all negative effects excluding ability block and stun by 1. In raids, if this character has 4 or more Pegasus allies, you will gain immunity, and this attack cannot be counter-attacked. With a 3 out of 3 special, we have Overdrive Blast. Attack primary target and adjacent targets for 300% damage. Apply defense down for 2 turns. Apply slow to all enemies. In raids, apply trauma. Oh, that's going to be really nice. Apply trauma for 2 turns to primary and adjacent targets. Apply immunity for 2 turns to self and all adjacent Pegasus allies, and this cannot be counter-attacked. That's incredible. Engineered Salvo is the ultimate. It is a 3 out of 5 energy. Attack all enemies for 350% damage. Clear 2 random positive effects for each enemy and apply slow for 2 turns. Apply immunity for 2 turns to self and all Pegasus allies. Apply stun to the primary target for 2 turns. In raids, apply stun to an additional random enemy that does not have stun. If this character has 4 or more Pegasus allies, apply stun to an additional random enemy that does not have stun. Prolong the duration of all positive effects on self and all Pegasus allies by 1 up to a maximum of 5. This attack gains 50% extra focus for each enemy with vulnerable. This attack cannot be counterattacked. The Heart of Iron is the passive. On spawn, apply 2 deflect to self and all Pegasus allies. When an enemy drops below 50% health, apply disrupted for 2 turns to that enemy. Gain 30% armor. Pegasus allies gain 30% armor. In raids on spawn, fill speed bar for all Pegasus allies by 15%. 15% per Pegasus ally. On spawn, if this character has 4 or more Pegasus allies, generate 2 ability energy for self and each Pegasus ally. So it's seeming like there's going to be a lot of energy moving around on this team, right? Gain an additional 30% armor. Pegasus allies gain an additional 30% armor and lower the armor for all enemies with vulnerable by 30%. That is absolutely incredible. Now, last but not least, we do have Darkhawk. Darkhawk has a basic called Steel Wing, attack primary and adjacent targets for 310% damage. Apply offense down for 2 turns, gain offense up. In raids, this attack has 30% crit chance, and when this character performs a counterattack or assist, you will be gaining deflect. With Raptor Beam coming in as the special with a 3 out of 3 energy, you'll be spreading all negative effects and excluding stun from the primary target to all adjacent enemies. Attack primary and adjacent targets for 300% damage. Apply disrupted for 2 turns and defense down for 2 turns. Apply 2 counter to self and all Pegasus allies, and you'll be applying offense up for 2 turns to self and adjacent tech allies. The ultimate is Dark Flurry, a 3 out of 5 energy ultimate. You'll be attacking all enemies for 340% damage. Apply offense up for 2 turns to self and all allies. And in raids, you'll be reducing the speed bar for all enemies by 5%, plus 5% per Pegasus ally. And you will be filling the speed bar for this character and all Pegasus allies by 5% and 5% per Pegasus ally. The passive is Birds of Prey. On self or ally crit, heal self for 15% of this character's max health. When this character or a Pegasus ally uses their basic ability, generate 1 ability energy for this character and all Pegasus allies. Gain 10% crit chance per tech ally. Pegasus allies gain 15% crit chance. And in raids, lower the crit chance of enemies with vulnerable by 30%. You'll be gaining 30% crit damage in raids, and Pegasus allies gain 30% crit damage in raids as well. I must say, I'm quite impressed. But let's not be too ahead of ourselves. Last but not least, you don't want to leave the zombie in the dirt. We have Juggernaut Zombie. With a basic of Decayed Blow, apply 2 bleed to the primary target. Attack primary target for 350% damage. Chain to 1 adjacent target for 330% damage. Spread all bleed from the primary target to the secondary target. Counterattack breaks this chain and it is unavoidable. On war offense, if the primary target has bleed, attack the primary target for an additional 10% of target's max health, and this attack cannot be blocked. A special of a 4 out of 4 ability energy, Unstoppable Object. Flip, taunt, and immunity on all enemies. Attack all enemies for 450% damage and apply slow for 2 turns. Prolong all negative effects on each target. Gain 3 deflect and 1 taunt up to a maximum of 2. On war offense, you will be applying 1 trauma up to a maximum of 2 to all enemies. This attack gains 1000% extra focus. It is unavoidable and cannot be blocked in war. The ultimate is Crushing Death, sitting at 5 energy, but you only start off with 3. Clear all negative effects on this character. If negative effects are removed, you will be healing yourself for 5% per negative effect removed. Heal self for 10% of this character's max health. You'll be spreading all bleed from the primary target to all adjacent targets, and you'll be attacking the primary and adjacent targets for 500% damage with 30% additional damage per bleed. My goodness. This is on the Undying team now, so I'll let you be the judge on what bleed is going to do for an Undying team, as well as 50% drain. This attack cannot be blocked. On war offense, you'll be prolonging all bleed up to a maximum of 3 on each target, and it is unavoidable. Last but not least, we have Undead Momentum. On spawn, gain taunt. When attacked, if this character has charged, fill speed bar for this character by 30% and 5% per Undying ally. When this character drops below 50% health, clear taunt, heal block from self, gain 2 death proof up to a maximum of 3, and apply taunt to a random undead Asgardian ally. So I believe that is to be a Greg or an undead Asgardian, as they say. When an Undying ally is summoned or revived, gain 1 charge up to a maximum of 5 on death if this character has 5 or more charged. Revive with 50% of this character's max health and 10% max health for each non-summoned Undying ally, and then lose 5 charged. Stun cannot be applied to this character. Gain 100% resistance. Undying allies gain 100% resistance. Gain 30% damage per charge on this character. And on war offense, on spawn, gain 2 charged. Gain 10% drain per charge on this character. And if this character's health is greater or equal to 50%, you'll be lowering the enemy resistance by 75%. If this character's health is greater or equal to 50%, the enemies cannot gain speed up. Wow, 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 wow. The art department has definitely done their job. They've done their homework. The characters look absolutely amazing. When I first saw Iron Man Infinity War, this just really caught my attention. If you guys like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. We want to know what you guys think in the comment section below about this team. We want to know your thoughts. We would love to hear your feedback. And I will definitely catch you guys in the next one. This was very fun to make. This team, I can't necessarily give my full opinion on the team yet because more information will be coming out later, but we would love to know your feedback. So leave it in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.